Mm.
Good morning and good evening, and good afternoon to people all over the world who are tuning in for the JKYog Youth Conference 2020, bringing together a number of award-winning social innovators, Ivy League academics, and motivational speakers from all over the world to inspire, to motivate, and to uplift all of us and to encourage all of us to make a change, make a difference in our community. This morning, I am very happy and grateful, and I would like to say it is my privilege to introduce an absolutely amazing female social entrepreneur. Her name is Hasina Kharbhih. She is an Ashoka Fellow and an Aspen ILI Fellow and the founder and managing director of Impulse Social Enterprises and the founder chair of board of Impulse NGO Network. For 31 years now, she has been working in the area of providing sustainable livelihood and a safe environment for women and children. And she works in the area of human trafficking and has actually won the Mother Teresa Award for Social Justice in 2019. So let's watch a little video about Hasina ji and we will get into the session.
I dream to dance with the tide. I am fulfilling someday. Let this be the epilogue to my life. When somebody accepts a job somewhere or accepts some opportunity, it's not that they really want to be enslaved or caught into a sexual exploitation. She wanted better money. Yes, everybody wants better option in life, better opportunity in life, but nobody wants to be sold.
My name is Hasina Kharbhih. I'm 47 years old. I am from Meghalaya and born and brought up in Shillong. I would call myself a human rights defender. Impulse NGO Network evolved over the last 26 years, a collective response to engage both the private and the public to come together to intervene to address human trafficking. There's so many unreported cases. There would be more than 80 to 90,000 of cases from across the 8 states of the northeast of India that we've been working. And that is amazingly really, really high in terms of the people coming from this region. As an individual, I took the first step, the bold step to say, any girls that you find from the northeast, please let us know. And that step led from 2 cases to 3 to 4, and in the course of 30 years now, we have more than 74,000 cases that the organization has dealt when we started to work on the issue. I would say that women from the region, because of lack of economic opportunities, were moving out of the region for job opportunities. Today, the social media and the internet is far reach to every villages that people are looking as the best option and how beautiful it would be to get out of the region. We have seen that girls from the northeast are no longer going to different states in India like Mumbai or Calcutta or Bangalore. They're going Southeast Asia. Now, our states in the region, we are bordering China, we are bordering Myanmar, we're bordering Bangladesh in large way. We have the Chicken Neck, which is also connecting to Nepal. Most of the connectivity is by road, by bus. And the second connectivity that takes people from the different part of the northeast now is Guwahati is a train station that leads people to get out of the different parts of the northeast. Many family does not really understand that going out of the region can actually make the young girl or the young women unsafe. because they have not really understood the gravity that at the destination point, getting a job is that's not getting a job. It's who's giving that job and what is the facilities in that job and what is the safety in that job. That is, the gap of understanding family allow because they didn't realize that would, let them to be vulnerable. There has to be economic opportunities in the spaces that women and girls come from, whether we are talking about a rural context or we are talking about an urban context, because that is an option where economic viability make them have more strength not to accept opportunities outside which will make them vulnerable. The secret of my success is identifying change makers in the respective communities that we worked, whether it's states in the Northeast, the neighboring countries, championing their leadership to accept that we can collectively come together to address the issue of human trafficking.
It's a very inspiring video there, and an equally inspiring personality. So for 31 years, as you saw in the video, 74,000 cases, Hasina ji has been working to provide a safe environment for women and children to prevent human trafficking. And what started out as a mission in her home state of Meghalaya in the northeast of India has evolved into today a global program that aims to put an end to human trafficking and exploitation worldwide. And apart from the Mother Teresa Award, Hasina ji has also won the CNN IBN India Positive Award and the IVLP Gold Star Alumni US State Department recognition. What is curious about Impulse and Hasina ji is that her work stands on two pillars. The first is the Impulse NGO network, which came about in 1987, and it is a significant force against human trafficking. And the other one is the Impulse Social Enterprises, which promotes local artisans and tries to create a sustainable livelihood that helps to prevent the problem, that helps to prevent unsafe migration, which is actually the cause for human trafficking. And this model is actually an award-winning model, and she has won international awards for this model that has been created, which is a holistic method to address human trafficking. She's a trainer, she's a motivational speaker, a writer, and a poet, and she's published a lot of books and articles. She has expertise in different areas, including leadership and institutional management, human rights, livelihood, rural development, anti-human trafficking, migration, gender-based violence, child rights, HIV/AIDS education, as well as intervention, experience with substance abuse and adolescent health. And today we are very fortunate to have Hasina ji on this international platform of the JKYog Youth Conference. Very warm welcome to you, Hasina ji. And Hasina ji will be speaking about her experience as a young entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, as well as something she really believes in, which is the role of trust and resilience in collective leadership. Please join me in warmly welcoming Hasina ji. Hasina ji, over to you.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you for that warm introduction of my work and my journey. It's a privilege to be speaking at the JKYog Youth Conference today. And as I'm speaking from home, and I'm just like wondering, like when you mentioned the word like 31 years of my journey, where do I really start? And my theme topic today goes back to the very strong word called resilience. I think overcoming 31 years has a lot to do with resilience when you want to see change. And getting impact cannot be done by one single person. I might be the face today, but then there's a huge collective leadership that joined the journey over the years. And let me start when I was 17, and I was just in school, and very much as every young student has huge dreams and huge aspiration and wanting to change the world. The learning lesson of being 17 and wanting to change the world is about believing that a young person can be a contributor to change was the first step of enabling me to try it out. And the second is that when you're young, you make mistake, but you can actually get up immediately and try it again. That's a very important part. I might have started before pre-technology. Today, resilience in the technology world is a very, very challenging journey for every young person because we want everything to happen at instant. But at the same time, resilient in change is a lot to do with how much you are committed to do what you do. And when I started off, I think as a student, I was very average. I think I was a student who enjoyed so much of my extracurricular activities, and joining a school program, which is called the Leadership Training Service, it enabled me to see the world a bit differently. It helped me to develop empathy, which was very high as a young person, that I might not be, able to change everything, but I can be, doing small things that can impact people's life. That was the first step. And as I was very active in it and always had this, that why should it be somebody who's senior and who's already achieved to be a part of bringing change? Why can it not be a young person? So I think when I go back, that was something that everybody was having this glaring effect on me. It's like, what are you saying? You still have to complete your studies. So for me, it's like studies is one part. Education teaches you to be observant, to attain knowledge, but empathy help you to understand human relation. And it helps you to understand that human relation and your, what we call it, being able to go one step further helps you to have education which is not in the books. It's called the education of life. So I think that education of life led me to bring together young people who are my classmates at that point, and when I said, let's form an alumni and let's continue because we are out of high school. And that's how it all started, the journey of young people coming together, believing that we can make change, got to the formation of an alumni, and the formation of an alumni led to the birth of Impulse NGO Network. So when I look back today, I really feel that if I didn't take that first step, I would not be where I am. So I feel that young people should not leave in taking steps, towards what they believe strongly, because that passion is a passion that is within, and that burning passion always help you to see the world differently. So that is where my journey started very young. And as I went further, the organization evolved because many of the young people move on with their different education and, moving out with their different colleges. But I continue to pursue that. So that pursuance, to take forward as it's so much to do with having resilience that what you start, you will not leave halfway. So the importance is that when we talk about resilience, to me, resilience is that there has been obstacle, from starting young to building an organization, which I have no clue what it means to be a social entrepreneur. I think the word social entrepreneur evolved over the years. And I think Ashoka Innovators for the Public helped me to define myself, what it means to be a social entrepreneur. But that word was never there when I started. So I feel that as young people, we should not be, we should not contextualize our life with the different words that define us. We should just do what we feel that we should be able to contribute, and also be able to find ourselves in that journey. I found myself in that journey that I could make changes in the community that I come from. I could be a value in contributing, and my empathy that I have been fortunate to have education, I've been fortunate to be brought up well, but there's so much of others who needs their rights, who could not even have basic requirement. And that is the birth of an organization. Now, that is the starting point of a young person journey where you don't define yourself with any call of jargon words, but you define yourself, I have to do it. So it's important to have resilience to that journey till you find your way. And as I moved, the organization today has evolved, and the evolvement itself to take up an issue like human trafficking, which is so much to do with crime, slavery in this modern day. Now, when we talk about slavery in this modern day, it is affecting every one of us in the whole value chain. The value chain of from where our clothes come from, there are times we don't even ask who made that clothes, whether it was made by child labor or bonded labor, or from where does it come from? Does the livelihood, that people is being impacted, or how the environment is being impacted, does that matter? That is a question that we often doesn't really ask. So the journey of addressing human trafficking for me and my team and my organization evolved that it has to be participatory. It has to be collective. And with that, I mean, starting with the fact that being in the northeast of India, which is very, very secluded from many parts, of the world, and also even from India, we are connected, by this chicken neck, which is called the North Bengal. And coming from a small town, I mean, a lot of question comes up that how could you make a model that evolved to be a world program? So it's about having resilience on what you believe, on the innovation that you create, which impacting in bringing together the private and the public is something that everybody thought that how can we change the whole system? How do we bring system change? But system change doesn't happen overnight. System change evolve over a period of time. And to bring system change is got to do a lot with leadership and engaging different leadership at the system that we're trying to change. And at the same time, having resilience to bring people to trust what you do. And trust cannot be achieved if you don't impact. Trust cannot be achieved if you are half-heartedly doing things. Trust can only be achieved if you move, with this whole passion that you have and engaging yourself with other people with skills and bringing them to trust the work that you do. But this happened over a period of time. And that period of time led to impulse that we have to come together collectively. We have to engage the power of our roles and responsibility to a common vision. And the impulse model, which stands on 12 pillars, which is partnership, prevention, protection, policing, press, and prosecution, which is the umbrella of the action on the ground, which is the 6R, which is report, rescue, rehabilitation, repatriation, reintegration, and restitution, that there are leaders in all the 6 Ps and the 6 Rs. How do we bring these systems together? Now, system can only come when they don't see you as an opponent to the problem, but they see you as somebody who takes them along with it. And I think that is the greatest success of social impact, when a social entrepreneur take an innovation forward. And to me, today, when I look back, the team, the people, so it's starting from the board, starting from the management team, but all the partners, there's a leader in each of these organizations. And not having the ego helps you to build leadership, to build collective leadership, because sometimes as human being, our ego takes center stage. When ego takes center stage, you cannot bring collective leadership. And if you forego that ego and you take one step behind and see the value of contribution, that they trust on your method, because your method has shown impact, that is a success of collective leadership. Now, when we talk about building trust over it, you have to take people along. Unless until we take people along, you are unable and you will never be able to make larger impact and larger change. So you remain in one place. But the impulse model saw that changing the mindset or the demand on human trafficking is not one, we have to bring everybody under one single window platform. We have to emerge with technology. We have to emerge with new learning. We have to emerge with young people participation in the process. But at the end of the day, we have to have leaders at different levels. We have to have organization that feel that we will join hands, we will collaborate. But collaboration only comes when the person who leads has less ego, has less what we call it, the power of waiting, and the power of waiting cannot be forever, but taking along with them at every step, because every human being is different. Every leadership style, I think both men and women have different leadership style. Now you have to be able to be within that framework that everybody holds different leadership style and everybody cannot be thinking the same way. But if they believe on the same vision, then you are engaging that collectively we will participate and collectively we will contribute, that each one of us has our strength and we cannot snatch each other's strength, but we combine that strength. So the combination of strength is another focus of collective leadership. And for Impulse as an institution today, we have gone into diving deep into the innovation. Diving deep helped us to look into detailing. I think that's just very typical about women leadership. Women, they don't start with a big bang when they start something. They start very deep. They go very deep into it. And going deep is a very natural process for us, maybe because there's more women leaders in the organization, including myself. And when we dive deep and found solution, where I spoke about the 6 P's and the 6 R's, we realized that it's time for us to share the methodology. So we scale up. We scale up in providing that methodology to other leaders, engaging where we call aspirational leaders and system change leaders, that they need to come together to see that this vision can be achieved if this tested methodology is being applied. So it's always a combination that changing cannot happen because you love to do it. It has to be based on facts, on factual. It has to be based on knowledge building. It has to be based on people coming together. And when we scale up, we realize that we had a lot of learning process in those journeys. And those learning processes help us to see that scaling up means that every time we scale up, we have to also dive deeper in terms of the cultural leaderships that is emerging in different spaces, that every individual come from certain cultural context. So the leadership style will always differ because it's got so much to do with the influence from the community that you come from. And then looking into the whole value chain system, we again scale out. So scaling out for us was when we got the World Innovation Prize in 2012 from the Global Development Network of the Japanese Most Innovative Development Project, recognizing that this social innovation is an innovation that can be scaling up, scaling out. But every time we scale up and we scale out, we realize that there are different leaders who are part of that change that's coming collectively. And we have to continue to dive deep so that each one of them is contributing. And every time that they feel I was a challenge or I was a foremost challenge, I would step back and I would say, this is a method for you to take forward. I might have invented this method, but it cannot be done by one single person. So leadership, when it comes to collective, it has to be seen that it's not mine or yours, it's together. And to see it together, the person who leads have to always step one step back, not one step front, so that you're not seen as somebody who is going to take away their participation, because every human being wants to grow. Every human being wants to be recognized. So the day, for me, I think being able to give away my leadership helps collective leadership to grow over the last 20 years of our work in 4 multiple countries. And that has been one of the greatest success and the greatest strength. But to do that, it helps us to also see that if we have to address an issue like human trafficking, it's just not about rescue operation. It's not about awareness building. It's not about getting people back home, but it's the economics that actually drive people to go out. So the economic is something that we went diving deep. And 13 years ago, we realized that if we have to end slavery in the long run, we might not see the result today, but definitely will see the result, in the years to come. And that whole value chain can be more participatory. We dive deep in strengthening economic of rural women. Yes, we took on weavers in the northeast of India because that is the traditional skill and strength that people come and is hereditary. So we decided that we have to strengthen that value chain, strengthen the leadership, strengthen the opportunity and sustainable markets, and also giving them the opportunity to feel proud of the culture that they come from. Because the feeling proud factor is one step of getting people to feel that they have ownership and they have an identity. Because I think the world today gets so much into conflict because of this whole identity crisis, the whole fact that I'm not being recognized, and then we get secluded. So we decided to bring that on board, that your cultural engagement, your value system, your identity can be the window to the world. So Impulse Social Enterprise, Impulse Empower is a window to the world to many of the women artisans from the Northeast belonging to various tribes. And we convert that into an economic opportunities, which the long-term goal we see based on a lot of factual assessments and data that we keep collecting to see where we are, that it prevents unsafe migration, which is a natural process, because migration is a right. Every one of us migrate at some point or the other, but the only difference is some of us are very fortunate that we are not vulnerable, we don't get exploited. But when we look at the larger, I think what COVID-19 has taught us today, as many people are on a lockdown and semi-lockdown, it gives that how much of inbound migration is happening around the world. People are losing their jobs. So strengthening local communities is also strengthening local collective leaders that can see the value in the environment that they live in the biodiversity that they are rich, and how they can engage that into sustaining themselves and then getting a larger collectiveness of sustaining as a whole. So that is something that we took along, but when we dive deep, we realize that human trafficking can only be overcome if we look deeper into the problem. And the problem is the economic. And of course, today, human trafficking has a different kind of exploitation that is also happening, where we're looking at online spaces. We are looking at how young people are being affected badly because of, connectivity is great. Having a different kind of connectivity is amazing. The internet is a space where we grow very fast. But I think growing up from non-connectivity, when I started off, when there's no mobile phone, there's no internet, and you come to an age where there's mobile phone and internet and you're connecting very fast, you start valuing, you value these processes, and I think that is also one of my individual strength, that I have more resilience, towards change that's taking place. So with that, I would say that my message to a lot of people around the world and all the young people who's joining the JKYog Youth Conference today is that do not hesitate to start young, and do not hesitate to make mistake, because when you start young, when you make mistake, you stand up very faster than anyone else. As you get older, you start calculating your mistake on how the people will see you in how you do things. So it's very important. It might, but yes, you have to have resilience to see that change will happen, and you have to have consistency. Whatever you believe strongly, and you see that you can contribute, then you have to dive deep, because diving deep gives you the essence of building yourself and understanding the issue more stronger. And then only you can grow and multiply. And multiplication is just not about single person doing it. And we need to move on with this process that co-creation, of organization across the world is the need of the hour. We practice co-creation. We practice co-leadership and collective leadership. And that is the impact that you could see in a very short span of my life, that I can look back and say, these are the few things we made changes. Money is important. Like every young people say, we need to earn, we need to have good money, but money is not everything. Your step forward change money cannot be the drive, money is a tool to make you sustain, but it cannot be the drive. So it's very important that one see inwards towards that, and then build towards the larger change, the larger impact. Thank you very much, JKYog, for having me here in this conference. If you think that there are questions that is coming up on the chat, I'll be more than happy, Aditi, to answer to everybody. Thank you.
Sure, Hasina ji. Actually, we are on the top of the hour, and our next speaker is here. And I really wish that we could have more time to hear about resilience and putting aside your ego in order to have a collective leadership and achieve the vision. Have a lot of people share the vision and be able to contribute and be recognized for those efforts. But I am actually personally feeling I wish I had more time, but we are out of time, and our next speaker is already here. So Hasina ji, my heartfelt thanks to you, and I'm very, very grateful that you chose the JKYog platform to teach us the value of putting aside our ego and leading together. And being a leader in that space, you have so much experience to share since you were 17. And I'm sure that a lot of people who are watching this will take that into their lives and apply it. Just get up, and even if they have made mistakes, and run, and just keep willing to learn and roll with the punches and develop that sense of resilience and trust in themselves and in others. Thank you so much, Hasina ji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hasina ji.
Thank you.
And we are now ready to welcome another change maker in the space of technology. And this is Anugrah Sahitya. We are very, very privileged to have Anugrah ji join us from India. Anugrah Sahitya is an award-winning young social innovator, entrepreneur, and public speaker, currently heading Hybrid Idea, a global social technology and IT services company helping businesses, social enterprises, and non-profits all over the world. He was named as one of the 10 Ashoka Changemakers from India, and incidentally, he has also been nominated for Padma Shri Award, the India's fourth highest civilian award, in 2019 for his work. He's been a speaker at Josh Talks and TEDx Youth Talks. He was also listed under the top 100 young innovators from India by Intel and the Department of Science and Technology of India. He's leading a team of 300 students under the National Service Scheme, which aims to educate the students about social welfare and to provide service to society without bias. Some of his top social innovation projects include virtual eyesight for the visually impaired and a virtual reality system for autistic people to facilitate social interaction. And we are very, very happy to have a technological social entrepreneur, somebody who is using technology and taking innovation in the right direction for the benefit of the world. Anugrahaji, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the introduction. I'm very glad to be here and very excited to be interacting with you all. Okay,
Um,
so yeah, sure.
so one small point, Anugrahaji, sorry
Yeah.
for the interruption. The session will be moderated by Ms. Swapna Punyakotishwaran, who is one of the pillars of JKYog.
Okay.
And so this, I just wanted to please continue.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. So I hope by the end of this session, you all take away something useful and are able to start something of your own and make an impact on the world. Awesome. So the session will be about social entrepreneurship for those who don't know. In the first part, we'll understand what really is social entrepreneurship. I will take you through a very inspiring story on how the person achieved a global recognition, impacted the world, and also made loads of money. After that, I will be sharing how I personally got into social entrepreneurship as a young normal guy and will explain you what we really do at Hybrid Idea and how we are making a difference. Thirdly, I will be explaining you why specifically this era that we are living in is the best time for social entrepreneurship. And after that, you will get to know the steps and the important things that you all should have in your journey to start a social business or a normal business and to scale it. Lastly, we can have a 10-minute fun discussion and a question answer round so that we can even discuss your ideas and work upon that. Okay, so almost every one of us know who Bill Gates is, who Steve Jobs is. We all know who Mark Zuckerberg is, Mark Cuban, Richard Branson, Ratan Tata, Mukesh Ambani, etc. But how many of us know who Bill Drayton is, who Mohammed Yunus is? A very small percentage of people amongst us will know about them. Mohammed Yunus and Bill Drayton are regarded as the greatest social entrepreneurs of all time. But who is a social entrepreneur? Social entrepreneur is just a person who solves social issues using entrepreneurial skills. Let us understand that better by taking an example of Mohammed Yusuf only. So, Mohammed Yusuf is a man who converted $27 into a $13 billion business. Mohammed Yusuf was born in Bangladesh in 1940. Although Bangladesh has a very rich culture, but the country is densely populated and is severely affected by poverty. He was affected by the traumatic conditions there, but unlike many of his fellow Bangladeshis, Mohammed Yusuf was lucky and not born into poverty, which gave him access to important opportunities. And as a result, he was able to go to a good school, get a good college degree. He studied economics and finance in the US and also got a scholarship. He witnessed something there that changed his life forever. He saw the historic struggles of the rights movement up close and he was deeply affected by that. Muhammad Yunus was particularly inspired by the movements, the powerful commitment to social justice, and it stayed with him. When Muhammad Yunus went back to Bangladesh, he continued to be profoundly concerned about the issues of justice, especially poverty. And as an economist, he wondered why was there so much deprivation in his country? Why were there so many people living in so much misery? He quickly realized that unemployment is not the problem. In fact, most of the people living in Bangladesh were working full time at back-breaking jobs. The real problem was wages. Muhammad Yunus came to a profound conclusion about poverty. He thought that what created poverty so much that human being has to be brought into this kind of situation where they have to beg for existence. He came to a same conclusion that there is nothing wrong with the people. Poverty is not created by the poor people. Poverty is created by the system that we have built, the concepts that we have created, and that is what has created poverty. And as Professor Yunus studied the problem, he began to focus more and more on the issue of credit and the ability to get loans. But the wages were so low in Bangladesh that he realized that the poor could never ever save up enough money to change their lives. The only way to rise out of poverty was to get access to capital with loans so that the poor could move to better neighborhoods, go to better schools, pay for college, get better jobs, and even start their own business. But the poor had no income, no collateral, no history of credit, so no banks would give them any loan. So Muhammad Yunus decided that he will personally give a loan of $27 to the poor without any contract and see what the response is. This sounds like a very stupid idea, but in shockingly in response, the poor people invested it on education, businesses, etc. And 97% of them were able to pay the loan back. That is even more than the rate of some of the commercial banks. Till date, the organization of Mohammad Yunus, the Grameen Bank, has given out loans of more than $13 billion and has decreased the poverty of Bangladesh from 56% to 31%. He also won a Nobel Prize in 2006. So this is just one example of many of the social entrepreneurs in the world. What's beautiful about this journey is that no age, religion, race, that all doesn't matter. What matters is your conviction to solve the problem. And as this event, especially for young people to ignite their potential, I would like to share how I started a company at the age of 17, and perhaps you all can relate to it and start up with something of your own. So I have always been an average student in the school. The concept of having a degree, doing a 9 to 5 job that you don't really enjoy scared me since the beginning. I wanted to do something different. And since I was very young, the idea of building things really fascinated me. So I started by learning how to build things from the world's largest university, that is YouTube. So I started by making home automation system, automatic irrigation system, and made many more projects like that. I eventually got so good at building things that I started giving workshops to people on how they can do the same. I was in ninth grade at that time. It was then that I realized that passion is something you teach yourself so good that you can teach it to others as well. Later on, I built a project named Apex Band. It was a gesture control band which lets you control your home appliances just by using your gestures. It was also made to be a safety device for the women so that they can use it in any emergency. This project got me into India's top 100 young innovators in the year 2016, and I was selected for a national award. I won that award and later was invited to attend University of Toronto. I got many awards after that by organizations like Intel, Government of India, etc. Everything was going very well until the later part of 2017. Someone very close to me had a cardiac arrest and passed away. I was very shocked and depressed, and I never knew that a death could come like this. And after that, I got into some kind of an existential crisis. I started questioning everything about life. And it was then that I decided that from now on, I will use the skills that I've developed over the years to help people. So that was the start of the next chapter of my life. The first project that I made after that was IQ, EYEQ. So IQ is a device made for the visually impaired people that observes, understands, and then narrates what is happening in front of the visually impaired. It can read texts, road signs, currency notes, so that the visually impaired doesn't need to be dependent on braille. It also helps the blind person to navigate. So after knowing about IQ, I was invited to one of India's biggest innovation summits, which had 400 plus CEOs from all across the globe. And I was invited to showcase IQ there. People were very impressed. And one of those people was so impressed that he approached me to make solutions for autism spectrum disorder and grant me a hefty amount in exchange of that. Imagine the most senior person of an organization is asking a 17-year-old to build solutions for autism instead of going to many other places and many other opportunities. This popped up an idea in my mind, like why not start a company where we can build products for the people who need assistance and also make money while doing it. This led to the start of Hybrid Idea. Back then, we became India's first assistive technology solution design company. We worked across various disabilities, including visual impairment, transportation disabilities, autism, etc. But while working upon it, later we realized, and when we got into touch with many NGOs and social enterprises, we realized that the people working at these organizations aren't very tech savvy. They do not know how to use tech in order to scale their business, NGO, charity, or a social enterprise. So we decided to pivot our business and make Hybrid Idea a global social technology and an IT services firm, helping non-profits, social enterprises, and businesses all over the world. We help them achieve their operational and business goals through technology. For example, we are working with a company named Janajal. Janajal has water ATMs all across India and public places like railway stations that provide safe drinking water at a very cheap price. So if you get 1 liter of bottled water in 20 rupees, they are providing it for 5 rupees. We manage their mobile applications part and Internet of Things part and helping them maintain their water safety levels. Proud to be associated with that company and proud to say that their water ATMs have served more than 15 million people till date and through 90 million plus liters of safe drinking water. Also happy to share that we have been awarded and recognized by various organizations including TEDx, Those Talks, Niti Aayog, Your Story, Hindustan Times, and many more. But let us now understand like why is this particular time is the best era and the best time to start a social venture. So the first point is that it has never been easier to start a social enterprise. In US alone, over 4.8 social ventures were started in just 1 year. In today's era, there are so many resources to learn, collaborate, and it has never been easy to raise donations and funds. So I believe to make $1 million, you would have to solve a problem that is worth $100 million. To earn $1 billion, you would have to solve a problem that's worth $100 billion. And the 100 billion problems in the world today are major social problems, whether it be electricity, water, education, etc. So even if you become 1% of the solution of the social problem that you have solved, think of how much you can earn at the same time, also leave an impact on the world. You can earn money as well, and also you can leave an impact on the world. But even being 1% of that solution wouldn't be an easy job. Secondly, it has never been easier to raise funds and CSR. Over $5 billion of funds are being offered by various organizations. Just like people fund startups, there are firms that are just funding social enterprises. CSR is corporate social responsibility. So in India, the government passed the CSR bill where they stated that any company who has a profit of more than 200 crores have to give away 2% of their profits to a social venture or an NGO or a charity. This opens up many opportunities for the NGOs, not just financially, but for other resources as well. India is also planning to launch a social enterprise. So enterprise stock exchange. I'm sorry. So social enterprises will go public and will trade. People will trade off of them. This opens up huge possibilities and will change the scope of all social businesses. Also, the fourth point of why this is the best time because of COVID. Obviously, the post-COVID era is going to be very different. People are going to be more compassionate towards others and to the social problems in the world. And I genuinely think that after this COVID era, there would be a significant growth in the consciousness of the people all across the globe. And people will start caring about social issues more and more, care about environment more, and also become empathetic towards others. Also, the youth of this and our generation has never been so outspoken before, all thanks to social media. And it is developing empathy and making it easier to solve the problem that you are facing. But what do you need to become a social entrepreneur? These are my pointers, and I personally believe that you all need this, but your opinions may vary. So there are 4 pointers that I think are very necessary to become a social entrepreneur or an entrepreneur in any regard. So first is to find a problem. This is the most important part of starting up a normal business or in that matter of starting a social enterprise as well. You should identify what is the problem that you face in your life or have seen many people suffering in their lives that you would really want to solve. If this doesn't come straight out of your heart, in my opinion, I think the possibility of losing motivation gets very high. And once you have identified what is the problem that you eagerly want to solve, then identify what you're really good at. This is the second pointer. Identify what you're really good at, whether it be public speaking, technology, writing, or for that matter, even dancing. Think of what skills you can use in order to solve that particular cause. Obviously, with just one skill, you cannot solve a problem. But I personally think that having one particular thing in focus by which you can try to solve it is very important. Then comes team building. This is the third point. A team is very necessary. You have to realize that you cannot do everything alone. You have a very limited skill set. You have a limited perspective. Having a team and building a community is one of the most essential parts, as you would not have the perspective, just one perspective, but you will have multiple perspectives for the problem that you're trying to solve. You wouldn't just have your skill set, but you would have skill sets of various people and will help you grow at a much faster pace. And the fourth pointer is having empathy. Having empathy is such an integral part of having a business, not just business, but in life in general as well. I think without empathy, a person cannot really understand or do what is told to him or her. Even if it's a client or a general relationships in life, you don't, if you don't try to feel what the other person is going through, then it's very hard to understand their real situation. And I think we all should be more empathetic towards others, and just not show sympathy towards others. And by saying this, I would like to tell the young people to find a purpose in their life. And having a purpose will surely ignite your potential and make you empathetic and make your life very systematic, because when you focus on one thing, all the other distractions become blurred. So by saying this, I would like to end this session and move on to the Q&A round. Thank you so much for having me. Unable to hear you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anugrah ji. That was a very beautiful and a very inspiring presentation. At such a young age, your list of awards speaks for the work that you have done, and also, the social cause behind the work that you are doing. I think that is spectacular, really spectacular. And I know, you are touching millions and millions of people's life already through these innovations and through your organization. So double thumbs up for that good work, and wishing you the best to continue. So request all our viewers to please share any of the questions that they have for Anugrah ji. We are really running out of time. So while the questions are coming up, I had one question. You touched upon the importance of team building and having the right team, especially as an entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur. The responsibilities are even more higher. Being so young, what are some of the challenges that you faced in identifying the right talent and building the team, and more than anything, sustaining that team and the momentum and motivation?
Right. So when we started out in 2017, when I got that project, I went to another friend of mine, and he later became my co-founder. We together built the team. So we used to go to hackathons and many competitions. We met many young people there. And one thing that we identified in the young people were they weren't doing anything for the social causes, but because they weren't aware of the social problems in the world. When we told them that these are the problems that this person is facing, and we all have the skill set to literally change their lives, so they became very motivated. And that is how we saw the people who got motivated, and we convinced them to work for us for free in the initial months until we don't have funds. And that is how we inspired them, made a team of 15 people, and that is how we started.
Wonderful. So there is a cause, there is a will. Where there is a will, there is a way. I think that's true in your case. You were able to highlight the importance or the cause behind, or the social motive behind doing this. And though they were initially not getting the monetary benefits, people were willing to work for it. So when you have the inspiration, you will be able to figure out ways of getting things done. Uh, so, Anugrah, what are your future plans? What are some of the projects in pipeline, or what is your roadmap or goal to help shape the world ahead of time?
So for hybrid idea, and personally, I really want to impact as many social enterprises and non-profits and businesses all over the world. This is what I love to do. This is what I have fun doing. This isn't work for me. this is fun for me, and I would like to help more and more businesses, more and more social enterprises, and make an impact through the world through our services. And perhaps later on in the journey, launch our own products as well. So that is my future plan for now. And I'm not seeing 10 years ahead, but I'm just doing what I'm doing right now.
Very nice, wonderful. With that, Anugrah, we are actually a little bit behind our allotted time for this session, but we really enjoyed this, and thank you so much. Your message to the youth, especially, has been very, very powerful, and your intention and the motive behind your company and the work that you're doing. Special kudos to that, and we wish you all the best to continue on this journey. And now it's time for the much awaited panel discussion with Swami Mukundananda ji. It will be on a different link or the same YouTube channel, JKYog Online. So request you all to please check the latest live link. The link will also be posted in the chat window. And we also recommend that you subscribe to this channel so that you can get notification every time we go live and we post videos. Thank you. With that, let's now get ready to join the special panel discussion with Swami Mukundananda.